Alright, so Black Panther Wakanda Forever is now out, and the film is very much about loss, grief, and acceptance. Since Chadwick Boseman's passing in 2020, the world of Wakanda has had a completely new and unexpected dimension added to it. Chadwick was an actor that seemed to be in the prime of his career, and though he'd had hits before, there hadn't been any that were the stature of that first film. It grossed more than The Dark Knight did, and it also earned a nomination for Best Picture at the 2018 Academy Awards. It catapulted him to superstardom, with both Infinity War and Endgame cementing him as a household name. However, his life was tragically cut short due to a 4-year battle with colon cancer. This was an extremely shocking death due to the actor's age, and the fact that no one knew what had been going on with him. Chadwick had battled in silence against the disease, and for over 4 years he kept it a secret that only those closest to him knew about. That means that throughout most of his appearances in the MCU, he was wrestling with the disease, and yet none of us knew. His death shocked the creative team just as much too, with Ryan Coogler having already made progress on his Black Panther sequel script. Due to Chadwick's death, this had to be rewritten from the ground up, with it now in his mind that the franchise had lost its main star and character. What Wakanda Forever does beautifully though, is that it doesn't shy away from this, and instead it embraces the loss to tell a story about grief, acceptance, and moving on. Shuri very much exemplifies this, and her journey throughout pulls from the stages of grief in order to showcase character growth. We open with a completely black screen, and her praying to a god that she doesn't believe in. It shows just how much she's at her wit's end, and we immediately cut to a one-shot take that catapults us into an extremely tense scene in which she's trying to save her brother. Like her, we know there isn't much she can do, but even as an audience member, I was sat there hoping that there was a way out. Unfortunately, T'Challa passes away in these first few moments, and this is all done off screen. Normally when a character is killed off like this, it can feel cheap, and it almost breaks the immersion of the movie. That's because typically when actors don't return, it's normally due to contract or scheduling problems. A character on screen will drop a throwaway line about why the person isn't there, or will be thrown into something where the characters wrestle with their death. All the while though, we know the behind the scenes story, which really dulls their characters' absence of passing. That isn't the case with Wakanda Forever though, and Chadwick's death carries a double layer to it. Not only are we aware of what really happened with him, but the off-screen death is used to strengthen the story. T'Challa dies off-screen because we're rooted solely in Shuri's perspective. We don't see him pass away because we're with her as she's working away to try and find a cure. This is completely heartbreaking, as rather than being with her brother when he passes, she's in the lab instead of saying goodbye. Shuri definitely embodies the 5 stages of grief in the movie, and we see her carrying them out even before T'Challa's death. She has not only denial, but also bargaining and anger. The other 2 are depression and acceptance, which is what the rest of the movie is built around, and we see Shuri comes to terms with the fact that her brother is truly gone. This thematically is what the movie is about, however, there's also the revenge cycle that we see laced throughout it. Namor embodies this too, and his arrival comes at a pivotal point in the movie. After a time jump of a year, Ramonda goes to Shuri and tells her to come with her to carry out a symbolic ritual. This involves burning the funeral robes, and Ramonda says that when this is carried out, that the mourning stage will be at an end. She also drops a very important line and says that carrying out this tradition is meant to start a new relationship with the one they lost. These 2 lines very much set up the post-credit scene, in which Shuri not only finally moves on, but she also meets T'Challa's son. Through him, she's now become an auntie, and started a new relationship with him through helping to raise the son that he's not going to be there for. It's a really touching moment that I want to talk more about in just a bit, but before this, Shuri also has to break the cycle of violence that she finds herself trapped in. The third act has a battle in which the people of Talocan face off against the Wakandans, and this is used as a way to bring the king to the surface. This leads to a battle on a beach, and after being stabbed by Namor, she uses the words of Killmonger to power herself up. Smashing him like it's a like button, she stands over him with a spear and is about to take his life. During this point, we get flashes of Ramonda's body lying in the throne room, and also a quick cut of Namor laughing. However, the scene does something unexpected, and we actually get a rewind of all the events that have led up to this moment. Through this, we very much witness the cycle of violence that's built up to this point. Wakanda was attacked in retaliation for the killing of Namor's people during Nakia's rescue. This spurred on a hatred within him, which led to the death of Ramonda. This has also caused Shuri to think that she has to get even now too. This scene also shows us the events of the last 500 years, and also the moment in which Namor killed the colonizers. This too was an act of revenge, and it created a hatred within him for the people on the surface. However, laced throughout this moment are also flashes of those that have been affected, and those that will be affected by the warring kingdoms. We see the people of Wakanda just going about their day to day, which is also mirrored in the people of Talokan. These kingdoms are set up directly to mirror each other, with them both being empowered by vibranium and also mystical herbs. We also see Ramonda, which is reflected in Namor's mother. Realizing that the pair are similar and that killing him will lead to an eternal war, Shuri decides not to take his life and instead the pair form an alliance. I absolutely love the line when she talks about how vengeance has consumed them, and this is very much playing upon the scene in Civil War in which T'Challa said something similar.
Vengeance has consumed you. It's consuming them. I'm done letting it consume me.
Both Namor and Zemo were responsible for the death of their parents, but they wouldn't allow this to create a murderous streak within them in which they'd forever be on a path of vengeance. This is very much why she decides to go against killing him, and instead forges a peace between the two kingdoms. Now after a couple of scenes for the epilogue, we close out with Shuri venturing out to Haiti to finally burn the robes. After carrying this out, she's introduced to Toussaint, who we learn is T'Challa's son. Now this very much links back to what Ramonda said before and how the fire ushers in a new relationship with the one she lost. Toussaint is also a name that carries a lot of meaning to it, and he's named after one of the Haitian generals who led an uprising against the French. Ryan Coogler is a master at lacing these ideas throughout his stories, and early on we see how the French are the ones who try and steal the vibranium from the Wakandan people. When Haiti was colonized by them, Toussaint fought back, and this name brings a lot with it. Very symbolic of the end, and Shuri sees that her brother's legacy will be carried on through his son, who also secretly bears his name. Most MCU movies, they just have post-credit scenes that tease something big for next time, but Wakanda Forever decides to do things differently. Rather than being a splashy and over-the-top tease of what's to come, we very much get an inkling of the past, what T'Challa has left behind, and the fact that though he's gone, he's not truly gone. Now this too links back to the line with Ramonda when the pair were at the river. She talked about how she sees T'Challa and everything, and very much gets glimpses of him in the rain, wind, and just throughout the world. I've actually often thought about stuff like this in the aftermath of losing someone, and I think we need to remember how much of an effect people have on those around them when they're alive. They help form our personalities, way of viewing the world, and in many ways they make us, so by being alive, we're carrying on their legacy. We too will affect those around us both negatively and positively, but it'll leave a mark beneath the skin that carries on when we're gone. Young T'Challa is very much a representation of this, and he'll go forth with his father's legacy embedded within who he is. The recast T'Challa movement picked up steam in the wake of Chadwick's death, but I think that this is the most respectful way that they could have carried the character on. Rather than raising him or pretending it's always been this way, the studio made a point to embrace Chadwick's death to show how death is very much a part of life. Wakanda Forever is a perfect title to sum this up, as it shows that though the character is gone, the ideas he created and pushed are everlasting, and they'll be carried on by those who live on in his memory. We also of course have Chadwick's passing too, and I can't think of a better way to honour the actor by the loss of him being laced in the very DNA of the film. Every actor gives an amazing grief-ridden performance, whilst also showing us that life does go on. There are several stages of Shuri growing and advancing beyond her brother's death. The herb she failed to make T'Challa is something she eventually completes, and this ends up giving her her powers. The robes that she had get burned, and shortly after this, she meets her nephew. To me, it's the perfect way to end the movie, and obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts and what you took from it. Now, just to let you know, we've also launched a brand new shirt over at zeroedition.com. Maybe your romantic partner told you size doesn't matter, but sorry to spoil that myth, it does. And that's especially the case if you're a size-changing superhero headed for the quantum realm. Down there, size is everything, so show some big love for the little guy with his exclusive heavy spoilers shirt. Just in time for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and it massively helps out the channel. Thanks. Now, if you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out one of our videos linked on screen right now. Talked about loads of Marvel stuff recently, and the algorithm is working away in the background to choose a video perfect for you on screen right now. You know that it's saying it's perfect for you, and you better not be calling it a liar. Hopefully I'll see you over there, but if not, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and you have a good one, mate. Take care, peace.